They get a date these days? Well, some researchers have been thinking about the same thing, and some of their conclusions might surprise you. Nielsen NetRatings did some research in the UK and found that the most popular way of finding a date now is through friends. A third of people would consider going online to find a date. And if you're trying to attract a potential date on the internet, the most important factor is how you look. To put this to the test, we asked some Londoners where they find dates.
Weird places, just
on
the tube, weird places. You don't really often meet them in town or in clubs. They're not that nice there. Why are they laughing? Do you know anyone?
The same places, out on the road or maybe clubbing, things like that.
When you're out, like in the evening, when you're with a group of friends and you see another group and you say hello.
I met my girlfriend in church, actually. That's always a good place. But no, you know, I generally don't go for sort of bars and clubs and things like that. Through friends, that's often a good way as well.
So what is the secret of finding a date? With us is Alex Burmaster of Nielsen NetRatings. Through friends is the traditional way of finding dates, I suppose, isn't it?
Yes, it is, but the research that we've done has found that today 1 in 3 internet users would now use the web to find a potential date, which represents quite a dramatic change to one of the cornerstones of life and one of the great drivers of human society.
Because they're an extension, aren't they, from the small ads you get in magazines, which traditionally were sort of frowned upon, but for some reason the internet has managed to bring in, you know, the mass market.
Yeah, I think there was always some form of stigma associated with using a third party to find a date, but I think the realities of modern life are very different than they were 10, 15, 20 years ago. We live in much more cluttered and complex lives, and the internet, as we know, is a fantastic method for bringing people closer together and obviously access to a vast number of people.
What does that say then about, I mean, you touched upon this, but what does it say about the people who, I guess, we're just not really willing to go out and put ourselves out on a limb if we go to a bar or a pub or a restaurant? If you see someone that you kind of feel attracted to, you won't necessarily go up to them. Meanwhile, on the internet, you're more likely to pick someone and ask them out. Exactly.
I mean, one of the findings was that women were particularly interested in the internet because it enabled them to pre-screen people based on a list of interests, personal characteristics. So the internet allows people to really get to know someone before they actually meet them, which, as you just said, is one of the most difficult things about finding someone. If you meet them in a bar or club, having the confidence to go up to them.
And you found that basically the men and women use the internet very differently, and I think isn't the idea that you well, basically you screen the people. So you're looking, I mean, it's not really the right way to find someone, isn't it? Shouldn't you be looking for some great connection rather than working out how much money they earn and what they look like?
Well, I think, yeah, I mean, the research shows that, I mean, women are most likely to be looking for friendship or shared interests, and like I say...
What are men looking for?
Men are most likely to be... Men's goals are more definable, they're more concrete, they're looking for, you know, long-term relationships, shared interests.
They're looking for good looks, aren't they? They're looking for the picture.
Well, to men, I mean, a photo is one of the big factors in finding a potential date, but I think that you'll find the way that someone looks is the biggest factor when you're out. It's not just on the internet. I mean, women are more likely to go for someone's interests, their characteristics and so on, but I think it's a bit of a stereotype to say that, you know, people are on the internet looking for one thing only.
A lot of people have had disasters with the internet, of course, but do you find that some people they'll go on lots and lots of internet dates? Or are there people that are just kind of dipping in and out of it, as it were?
Well, I think, I mean, 3.5 million people visit dating sites every month, so it's a very ingrained part of modern life, and I think the fact that over 500,000 people are going back each month to, you know, 2 of the leading dating sites alone shows you that really the internet is quite a successful method for finding a potential date, whatever you might be looking for.
And it's almost as if it's a way for you to just expand your social pool, if you will, your social circle, and just not necessarily just meet someone to date, but just someone to, you know, more friends and things like that, people with common goals. Are you finding that, you know, these internet dating companies are becoming more and more successful, and they're there are more of them now out there as opposed to the traditional ones. There's just a few, the big name ones like, you know, Match.com or whatever you want to call it.
Well, definitely. I mean, the personals and dating sites, the audience has almost doubled in the last year alone since June 2004, and I think there's no reason to think that increase won't continue. More and more people are using the internet. It's becoming more of a socially acceptable way of meeting someone.
It's breaking down into kind of social groups, isn't it? Particular types of social group can go to particular sites. Then you've got this other one which is very expensive to join because millionaires are meant to be on it.
Well, I mean, there are all sorts of people on the internet looking for all sorts of things, and I think it's very important to remember that the internet has now become a lifestyle choice rather than a technology tool that it was 10, 15 years ago, where the internet was basically populated by your cyber geeks, your web aficionados, the image of a sad 20-something male sitting in a darkened room. I think that's
desperately.
Yeah, I think that's
photo.
Yeah, that's very much changed. I mean, the internet is very much more reflective of society as a whole.
Okay, Alex Burmaster.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, coming up next here on CNN Today, we'll take a look at the highlights